It's now a little past 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 28th. And this is the meeting of the Dartmouth Conservation Commission. We're holding this meeting remotely as a result of Governor Healy's signing on March 28, 2025, a further extension for hybrid remote meeting options to municipalities. She extended that option until June 30, 2027. Our meetings are public accessible. There's a chat feature, a raise your hand, and if all else fails, wave your hand, and you will be heard. I ask that if you're not speaking, to please keep yourself muted. That way we don't have ambient noises interfering with anyone's presentation. We do have a quorum of commissioners present tonight. There are 5 currently present. That means any affirmative vote will take 4 out of 5. It's not a majority, it's 4 out of 5. And I'll also point out that this meeting was duly published and noticed in accordance with Town of Dartmouth bylaws and state regulations. Our first orders of business are administrative. The first is, the approval of the September 23rd, 2025 minutes. May I please have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. The second administrative item is the approval of the field trip reports for October 14, 2025. May I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Our third administrative item is to receive the minutes of October 14, 2025. May I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. We're moving now to our field trip reports. We have 4. The first is a request for determination of applicability, RDA 25-21, from Mass DOT for roadway resurfacing and vegetation management in conformance to the approved MADOT, Mass Department of Transportation, vegetation management guidance as part of the road surfacing project for road safety along Route I-195. It's within the 100-foot buffer zone to several bordering vegetated wetlands and within a riverfront area and a bordering land subject to flooding area. The applicable regs are 310 CMR, 10.02, 10.55, 10.57, 10.58, and Section 306-2 of the Town of Dartmouth bylaws. The land is described as Route I-195. Mark, what is staff's recommendation on this request?
Yes, this is a standard request that Mass DOT makes throughout the Commonwealth for road improvement and road safety purposes. Route I-195 is now subject to several elements of this work, from Providence to Wareham, or I should say from Seekonk to Wareham. It's very standard stuff. It's remilling, repaving, and from time to time, they do have to cut back vegetation. All the vegetation that they're proposing to cut back is within their the state layout. Typically, the exempted work for vegetation management is cutting back 6 feet from the guardrail. They're requesting 20 feet. Having run the project area, which extends from the west approximately Highland Avenue east to immediately east of the Reed Road interchange to the Shingle and the Shingle Island River. It seems very prudent that they cut back the vegetation to the requested 20 feet. I do not think that's an issue. The triggering mechanisms for this filing are the fact that they are requesting to cut back a little farther, and also that there is work in 100-year or 1% storm floodplain and the riverfront area. It's all work within the state layout. It's all work within a managed corridor for well over 50 years. So having said all that, staff is prepared to make a recommendation of a -2 determination with the following conditions. The first one, our standard ECD condition: all destabilized ground conditions shall be segregated from downgrading jurisdictional wetland resources with properly installed and maintained staked and entrenched hay bales or wattles. The second condition is all vegetation management practices shall conform to the Commonwealth's approved vegetation management practices and protocols for state highway maintenance. That is staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Mark. Do any commissioners have any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue a -2 determination with the conditions that have been verbalized by Mark Garrett. A motion on that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second on the motion, so we have a roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Our
For
second
me,
field,
Mr. Chairman, just I see that we have an individual, Kevin Thompson from DOT. I just wanted to let him know that negative is good. Positive would be the commission seeking more jurisdiction and additional filings. So the issuance of a negative determination is what DOT was seeking.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate the commission's time.
you're very welcome. Our second field trip report is a request for determination of applicability, RDA 25-22 from the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation, DCR, to demolish an existing dilapidated building within the Demarest Lloyd State Park and restore the area with loam and seed to match adjacent conditions within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland and land subject to coastal storm flowage. The regulations are 310 CMR 10.02, 10.04, 10.55, and Section 306-2 of the Town of Dartmouth bylaws. This is on land described as Map 10, Lot 6. It's otherwise known as 0 Barney's Joy Road. Mark, what is staff's recommendation on this request?
Yes, this is an RDA to remove what is called on their plans the old park office in Demarest Lloyd State Park. I believe since it is no longer the office, it was used as a gatehouse for entering the parking lots for use of the beaches at Demarest Lloyd. The state park is within heritage and endangered species. There is also buffer zone and floodplain, but this is a lawn area. This has been a managed area for quite some time as a state park. It is natural only in the sense that there is no real hardscape except for the parking lots and the limited number of structures out there. This is a restoration, taking out an impervious structure and regrading it with loam and seed. Having said that, staff is recommending a -3 determination with our standard erosion control device condition.
Thank you, Mark. Does any commissioner have any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue a -3 determination with the standard erosion control device conditions.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes,
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. The third item on field trip reports is a request for an extension permit, DEP file 15-2548, REP 25-1, from Glenn Lehman, care of Richard Rayum, for the approved garage and driveway expansion at map 121, lot 7. It's otherwise known as 1 Howland Avenue. What is staff's recommendation, Mark?
Yeah, this project was permitted some time ago, but the project was extended due to the COVID extension and subsequently was further extended. The project was amended. It was then extended after COVID. It was extended by the governor's extension last year, which extended the project, the order of conditions out to December 3rd of this year. Prime Engineering, representing Mr. Lehman, has requested for the first time an extension by the applicant, and staff is recommending to grant a 3-year extension to Mr. Lehman, extending the permit to December 3rd of 2028. At that time, I would think that if they need further extensions, they're going to have to really justify it to us, as they will have had at least 5.5 years to complete this project.
Thank you, Mark. Does any commissioner have any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue an extension permit on DEP file 15-2548 for 3 additional years until December 8th,
Third.
3rd, 2028. I knew there was an 8 there somewhere.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes,
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Our fourth and final field trip report this evening is also a request for certificate of compliance, where DEP file 15-2605 RCC 2520 is from Brownell Boat Stands, care of Richard Rayum, to the proposed Brownell Boat Stands manufacturing and storage facility with ancillary parking and on-site drainage infrastructure. The regulations 310 CMR 10.02, 10.55, and section 360-2 of the Town of Dartmouth bylaws. The land is described as map 61, lot 5. It's on 1000 Reed Road. Mark, what is staff's recommendation here?
Yes, this is the large warehouse that was built. It's the last large building in the Dartmouth Commerce Park along Reed Road on the left-hand side as you're driving north, large blue building. Order of conditions was issued for portions of the building and storage, parking and driveway access, and also drainage, retention basins, and repiping of drainage on the site. Having conducted since it's a complicated project, we did conduct a fairly comprehensive site visit, walking all areas of the project, and really trying to scrutinize the drainage, because sometimes that gets slipped up along the way. But everything seemed in compliance with the plan of record. Therefore, staff is recommending a complete certificate of compliance.
Thank you. Does any commissioner have any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue a complete certificate of compliance on DEP file 15-2605.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes,
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. That completes our field trip reports. We're now moving on to the public hearings. The first public hearing is public hearing on DEP File 15-2802, NOI 25-35. It's on the after-the-fact notice of intent from the Massachusetts Audubon Society, care of the BSC Group, to restore tenant-impacted wetland resources on land described as Map 8, Lots 20 and 20-1. It's otherwise known as 786 and 788 Horseneck Road. Um, Entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
That one. Seconded motion, roll call vote. Liz,
yes,
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes, that passes unanimously. And is someone here this evening that would like to speak on behalf of the applicant or the
Yes.
applicant?
My name is Matthew Creighton with BSC Group. I'll be representing the Audubon tonight. With me is Arthur Garrity, one of the attorneys for the Audubon. If I can share my screen really quick.
Yes, you may.
Bring this up. All right, you guys got my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Excellent. So the proposed project is an after the fact application to remove manure piles on the site. The current occupant owns a horse farm or horse stables, has horse stables, and they've been dumping manure basically in the BVW on the coastal bank within the buffer zone to BVW, as well as land subject to coastal storm flowage. When the Audubon became aware of this, they asked us to go out and conduct a wetland delineation of the site and provide this plan and file this application to have it removed. Right now, we have determined that there's 2,639 square feet of manure within the BVW on the western side, which is this area here. There's 7,392 square feet within the coastal bank on the western side here, 5,133 within the 0 to 50 foot buffer zone to the top of coastal bank here. Again, on the western side, over on the eastern side, we don't have anything in the BVW or salt marsh, but we do have 4,203 square feet within the coastal bank and 2,377 square feet within the 0 to 50 foot buffer to the coastal bank. In total, we calculated about 1,500 cubic yards of manure to be removed on the west side and about 365 cubic yards to be removed on the east side. The Audubon would like to excavate down to native material, remove the manure from the site and bring it to a licensed facility to dispose of it properly. And stabilize the area with the planting plan that we had supplied in our project description. We've also added, once the existing occupant has left the property, the Audubon would like to remove the buildings at the site and actually restore the area. It is in the deed to the Audubon that once the occupant has left, that the entire area will be restored. I did hear from Natural Heritage on Friday. I had a great conversation with them. They did ask us to add a couple of things. They wanted to let you know, one, that they plan to have the no-take determination letter by Thursday. They were unfortunately not able to get it for tonight, but they did want me to let you know that it was coming this week. If you wanted to close, that you would have that. They asked that we provide silt fence to protect turtles from getting into any work zones while work is underway, which obviously the Audubon is happy to do. And they also asked that we consider the turtles when we restore the site which the Audubon has told them that they will be designing turtle gardens, kind of habitat for them to nest in and such. So the Audubon sent me an email back and said, great, thanks. But unfortunately, we don't have a letter from them just yet. The turtles in question are diamondback terrapin, so there's no issue with any work being done in the winter months. So anything that they do now, obviously there's no concern. It was more if they're removing buildings or something next summer, that would be more in the nesting season for the turtles, and they wanted us to just be aware and provide some silt fence or something to make sure the turtles didn't get into any work areas.
I got a quick question for you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
the notice that I read was for the the work elements to include removal of manure illegally dumped, which you went through. But I didn't read anything about the demolition of existing buildings and the replanting as you've described. Was that in the application? Because I don't want to exceed the scope of what's been applied for.
Yeah, it was in the project description to remove the buildings and restore the area.
Okay. How was this advertised, Mark?
It was not advertised with the buildings being removed. That's really the first time that I've heard that it is a determined action. I know that there is a back and forth between Audubon and the tenant. I have avoided that. That's not really in the purview of the Conservation Commission. Tenancy and whether they stay or go is something different. I would suggest to the commission that this has come up fairly recently, I believe. I know it's been a desire of Mass Audubon, but as an actionable item, it really was not raised to me until now. And although I did hear some previous discussions about it, I have heard from both attorneys, Attorney Garrity for Audubon, and the tenant's attorney's name escapes me at this point, but he had called me and I've heard, rumblings. My suggestion would be that the commission act on what we have plans for and what was noticed. And should the buildings want to come down, I don't think it would be a problem to amend the order of conditions later on. I do not think that the commission would have a problem with those buildings being removed and the ground restored to the condition, but this is really the first I heard of it as an actionable item. I knew of it as a thought, but not as an actionable item.
Yeah, it is something that we wanted to make you aware of, and that, obviously the occupant is still there, so it wouldn't be something until after they were gone. So we can certainly request an amendment at that time, Mark, if that's the way.
I think that would be the
wanna move
cleaner way of
forward.
going, Matt.
That's fine.
Personally.
I think it's probably the only way to go, because if our notice didn't include the demolition of the buildings, we wouldn't be able to legitimately vote on something which came up during the meeting and wasn't noticed to the public. So I think that's the only path forward, and it seems like it's a reasonable path forward. Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted your presentation, but I just
Nope.
wanted to be clear.
That's okay. I'm all done. I'm happy to take questions if there are any more.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of
Mark, I
course.
would like to hear staff's comments, and we're going to be discussing not the demolition of the building. We're going to be discussing the removal of the manure, et cetera, that have impacted the resource and buffer areas.
Yeah, I think Matt did a pretty good job of summarizing things. A couple of things that I do want to note. Audubon came to us with this violation. We did not find it on our own and call them out on it. B, it is a little bit of a complicated matter in that Audubon owns the property. The Department of Conservation and Recreation holds a CR on the property, and there is an active horse stable and training facility on the property. So there are 3 entities involved. Mass Audubon is the victim of their tenant's violation, as is DCR. a violation is a violation nonetheless. However, the enforcement order was issued to both Audubon and DCR because they are the holders of the deed and the CR. Having said that, the plan that Matt is sharing with us is very accurate to what I've observed on the site in 2 site visits. I think it adequately shows what we believe to be the extent of the manure pile. I think that their narrative speaks very appropriately of how to restore this material. The one thing that we don't have is we don't have elevations or spot grades of the native material particularly. That would have taken a lot of excavation to find that. So we're going on the basis, and I do agree with Matt that the work will be conducted down to native soils. And we have some conditions that I've prepared to speak to that. Having said all that, and the other thing is that, you know, this is about a 1/4 mile north of Allen's Pond. This is a reminder for the commissioners. The town of Dartmouth, or DEP and EPA, have issued a TMDL, a total daily maximum level of nutrient and bacterial discharge to Allen's Pond. These manure piles are directly adjacent to surface waters that drain in very short order into Allen's Pond and are loaded with A, nutrients, and B, bacteria. Under the TMDL restrictions, it is the town of Dartmouth who is responsible for maintaining those discharge limits. We cannot maintain them if we have manure piles literally on the north shore of Allen's Pond. So the removal is not only necessary from a wetlands perspective at the regulatory level, but it's also a water quality issue that needs to be addressed immediately. And we might see a change in the nutrient levels and the bacterial levels in Allen's Pond when sampling is done by other organizations once these piles are removed. Having said and the other issue is, you know, the commission has to consider the lack of a letter from Natural Heritage. I was under the impression that we would have had that letter last week. We did not receive it. We did not receive it since Thursday. We are still not in possession of it. I trust Matt is giving us an accurate account of what Natural Heritage said, and that we will be getting that letter. I don't know whether the commission wants to close the hearing without that letter or not. That is a consideration that you would have to make. This is an enforcement action, and we can make this contingent on the receipt of that letter in short order. I would hate to delay this. We tend to delay enforcement action corrections, and then we get into a time we get bound by timing as the project ends. I want to give them as much time and as much winter time when things are dormant and inert to do a lot of this dirty work, so to speak. So I leave that to the commission's discretion. Staff's recommendation is to issue a standard order of conditions as modified, and I did send you a list of conditions for this, and the modifications take place in our restoration portion of our conditions. But since I sent those out, I did have some other thoughts which I've added. So special condition 41 is our restoration condition, and it has several subsections. I've inserted subsection C to read, any manure encountered or discovered beyond the estimated footprints presented on the plan of record during the excavation shall also be removed. The conservation agent shall be notified should this be the case. Again, not knowing exactly where the bottoms of these piles are. We're estimating, and I think they're good estimates, but if we're taking out the manure, we're gonna take it all out. And I raised that with Audubon during a site visit last week, and they were comfortable with that. I also inserted a 41D. All manure shall be removed down to the underlying clean native soil and shall be removed off-site to a certified composting yard in an environmentally appropriate manner. And then I went on to say, when clean native soils are encountered, the conservation agent shall be notified to inspect. And when encountered, several spot grades of the native soils shall be taken for baseline records. Then I modified 41H to read, monthly construction status reports shall be submitted to the Conservation Commission during the restoration. And then following that, and after plantings, monitoring shall be done and reported to the conservation staff following each growing season until 75% wetland vegetative cover has been achieved or throughout the complete term of this order. So we are recommending approval with those modified conditions. I would also submit that we adjust our contingency condition, which is, I believe, condition 21 or 22, to also include, and upon receipt of the letter from Natural Heritage by
Hopefully Thursday.
Thursday, which is October 30th.
Might also go to
Yeah.
the end of the month.
Okay, Friday, Halloween. Okay, that's fine. Whatever day
May
you
as well,
want.
make it easier.
Yeah, and just to touch on the letter, because we did have conversations with Heritage, that we accept their conditions, so they can be written right into the order once you receive the letter. The no-take determination. So there's nothing there that we would contest. We certainly agree with everything that they've asked us.
Does any commissioner have any questions? Is there anyone in the audience this evening that wants to be heard on this application? I'm seeing none. So I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Mark, what was,
Mr. Chairman, just before we do a motion to approve or deny, my recommendation is also based on the plan and narrative dated May 9th, 2025.
that you were going right to where I was going to ask you. Okay. So at this juncture, I'll entertain a motion for a standard order of conditions as conditioned and some of the conditions modified as recited by Mr. Garrett this evening and in his emails. And that standard order of conditions is based on the plan and narrative dated May 9, 2025, with an additional condition, which wasn't read by Mr. Garrett, but was stated by applicant's engineer, that any conditions in the no-take letter from Natural Heritage, which is anticipated to be received by the end of this month, October 31, 2025, will also be conditions imposed on this project and this approval. Can I have a motion to that effect,
So
please?
moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard,
Yes.
My vote is yes, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you and good luck with that project.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you. Our second public hearing is public hearing on DEP File 15-2804, NOI 25-37 from Leslie Martin to demolish 2 existing sheds and construct 1 new replacement shed on the north side of the existing dwelling and within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. The regulations 310 CMR 10.02, 10.55, as well as section 360-2 of the Town of Dartmouth bylaws. The land is described as map 73, lot 38, is otherwise known as 32 High Hill Road. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard.
Yes.
My vote is yes, that motion passes unanimously. Do we have someone here this evening who wishes to speak on behalf of the applicant? Or the applicant?
Yeah, yes, John Connell, SciTech Engineering. How are we doing?
Very well, thank you, John.
Thank you. Here on behalf of Leslie Martin, she's the owner at 32 High Hill Road. Your description is right on the money. She has 2 existing sheds that aren't in very good shape out there. In fact, a little bit closer to the wetland than the proposed shed. She'd like to demolish those 2 sheds, remove all of that construction material, get that out and dispose of that properly, and then construct a new shed a little bit further from the wetland on a concrete slab, basically consolidate her storage. Of course, we put the silt fence and the wattles up prior to any construction, and then once everything is done, we'd loam and seed, restore all the disturbed areas, which is about 2,000 square feet.
Thank you, John. Mark, has staff had an opportunity to review this application? And if so, their comments would be in order.
Yes, I think John did a good job of summarizing. It's 2 structures relatively close to the wetlands, being removed and replaced by a larger structure a structure that combines the square footage of the 2 on a different footprint, a little farther from the wetland. The site is, a used site. It's buffer zone, but it's a lot of it's lawn area. It's not forested in any way, shape, or form. I think that the new construction is closer to the existing house than the 2 other structures, so it kind of consolidates the site usage away from the wetlands. I think it's a reasonably good idea to maintain the use of the property as it has been for a while improving separation from the resource areas. Having said that, staff is recommending a standard order of conditions as per the storage shed site plan dated July 30th, 2025, which was in your packet.
Any conditions?
Just standard order conditions.
Okay. Does any commissioner have any questions of either the applicant's engineer or Mark? I don't see any. Is there anyone in the audience this evening that wants to be heard on this application? Again, I don't see any. So at this juncture, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard.
Yes.
My vote is yes, that motion passes unanimously. Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to issue a standard order of conditions in accordance with the plan dated July 30, 2025 on DEP file 15-2804.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard.
Yes.
My vote is yes, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, John. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
everyone. Thank you very much.
We're now going to our third and final public hearing. It's a request to amend an order of conditions, DEP file 15-2698, AOOC 25-7 from Copacut Realty Trust to construct a 10-foot by 14.5-foot extension to a permitted addition and outdoor shower. It's within land subject to coastal storm flowage. The regulations are 310 CMR 10.02. 10.04 and section 306-2 of the town of Dartmouth bylaws. The land is described as map 97, lot 18. It's otherwise known as 3 Pennakees Lane. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
A seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. And is there someone here this evening that wants to speak on behalf of the applicant or obviously the applicant themselves?
Yes, hello. Chris Gilbert from Farland Corp Engineering, representing the applicant and their property at 3 Pennakees Lane. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes, please.
All right, can everyone see that?
I can. Yes, thank you.
Okay, this is a residential property. It is within a flood zone. Although if you look at a flood map, it's actually not shown within a flood zone, but once you get the elevations, it's in AE elevation 18. You can see the elevation is 18 is here. So the actual entire property is within a coastal flood zone, but it is at the upper end of the flood zone, as zone X is right here, just past the property. Back in 2023, we filed a notice of intent to put the addition shown in gray here, an addition here, and this is a porch here. We received an order of conditions for that work, and that was constructed. We have not filed for a certificate of compliance, so it still is an open order of conditions. So we are asking for an amendment to the order of conditions to expand the addition a little further, shown here in red, which is a 10-foot by 14.5-foot addition onto the bedroom area there, as well as an outdoor shower here shown in red. It's a fairly flat lot. We're not proposing any changes in grading. It's all pretty straightforward. This is a pre-existing non-conforming structure. This is not a substantial improvement to the structure, so it's not required to meet FEMA building code in that regard. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Mark, I assume staff's had an opportunity to review this request and has comments they'd like to make on it this evening.
Yes, this is one of the sites in Nonquit, pretty close to the casino area and the post office, kind of the little village center of Nonquit, if you will. All very small lots, concentrated development. The previous additions were not dramatically large, so this commission approved them. And I should note that when we issued the order on file number 15-2698, it was Christopher who actually cited the FEMA error and brought it to my attention, and we both looked at that, and in fact he was absolutely correct. So his reporting that the FEMA line, as you look at the map, is not quite accurate is very true. Their topographic survey clearly indicates a slight differential, and that differential impacts the project in that it falls within floodplain, where if you use the FEMA line, it does not. Having said that, these two smaller additions are within the general footprint of the structure in that they don't exceed any sideline or rear lines of the pre-existing structure. Staff does not see them as major structural elements to the site. However, there isn't much more room for them before they start expanding beyond the footprint. And then we might scrutinize anything later a little bit more. Having said all that, staff is recommending a standard order of conditions as per the plan you're looking at, which is dated September 20th, 2025, with no modifications or additional conditions.
Thank you, Mark. Does any commissioner have any questions? Is there anyone in the audience that wants to be heard on this application? Seeing no hands raised, hearing nobody indicating they want to speak, I'll entertain at this juncture a motion to close the public hearing.
No move.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard.
Yes, yeah, excuse me, yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. At this juncture, I'll entertain a motion to issue a standard order of conditions pursuant to the plan dated September 20, 2025 on DEP file 15-2698.
No moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard.
Yes,
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. That concludes the public hearings. We're now moving on to items for discussion. And we have discussion items and an enforcement issue. So Mark, I'll let you take helm.
Okay. Real quick, I hopefully don't take too long on this. First and foremost, last meeting, we had a discussion on the draft wetland regulation discussion. And the update, at that time, we decided that it would be a good idea for Mike Keough, myself, and Assistant Town Council Brian Cruz to sit down, have a meeting. Obviously, my schedule has been very much in flux for obvious reasons. But we did settle on a date. We will be sitting down this Thursday, October 30th at 12 noon in the Conservation Office to hopefully get clear of whatever these hurdles and issues are, so we can move forward to get this done quickly. I mean, frankly, we do not have, well, I won't say that at this point, but it's a necessity that we do this. So that's where we stand on that. The second item for discussion it has to do with the conservation fund that we maintain. Basically, for those of you who don't know, it functions sort of like an enterprise fund, but it's not an enterprise fund because it's a fund that was put in place by state legislation, not local legislation. So we collect filing fees, and those filing fees are put into this fund, which is to be used for the betterment of wetlands and the betterment of Conservation Commission efficiency. That fund generally has, at its maximum annually, about $130,000 to $140,000. However, that number is quickly reduced by $40,000 because annually $40,000 is taken from that fund and put towards paying Eduardo or the conservation agent. So there's always been a question of sustainability of that fund if we were to add another salary, because that's really the only place that we can draw from at this time. Previous financial officers and town manager or town administrators were not in favor of that. The current town administrator has been very reasonable in our discussions about adding staff to the conservation office, namely an administrator. He clearly understands the problem. He's trying to make it work with me. And one of the options may be that we use portions of this fund. Purpose for this discussion is only making you aware that that's subject for consideration. I know some of you might be town meeting members. Some of you certainly are in the know, in and around town. And I don't want you to hear that, secondhand. Those discussions are taking place. I have given the town administrator the copies of my records, my financial records relative to that. So we're trying to move forward with that. I think one of the ideas is to use that as a short term, but when we get to the 2026 budget period, which is coming up very quickly, I will be submitting a budget probably late December, early January, for next fiscal year. The town administrator is talking about a budgetary line item for this additional staff person. So that's just an FYI. After many years of knocking my head against the wall and Mike O'Reilly doing the same, it seems like we've made a bit of headway. I haven't concluded success yet, but a bit of headway. So that's just an FYI for you folks. I wanted to keep you aware. The last discussion item is I need a formal vote from the commission on the emergency response action request for the cleanup within the buffer zone to a BVW and inland bank and land under waterway and riverfront area due to the I-195 plane crash of October 13th, 2025. As I don't know who has actually seen the site, but as the plane came in, it came in from the north. It was basically going southwest and hit the trees on the north side of the highway. The wings ripped off. The wings have the fuel, the aviation fuel in them. That debris landed in the woods. The fuselage carried through, and we saw it sitting in the median of the highway. There was some spillage there, but not much. But there was certain spillage in the woods to the north. Those areas are within our jurisdiction. They do need to be cleaned up. I went out to the site and actually walked the site several days later, and you could still smell aviation fluid in the air. Much of it burned off, but there are residuals, and the amounts they're still trying to get a handle on how much, but they were on the lower side as opposed to the higher, more concentrated side. So they still need to get in to clean that up. The area isn't that large. Most of it is in buffer zone and riverfront area, but the destruction has already happened with the plane crashing, and they are going to clean it up and, do some restorative vegetation. So I did send out an email. I got a straw poll response from 4 of the members constituting a quorum. And I indicated, because time was kind of sensitive, that we did have a quorum, but I do believe it would be proper for this commission to vote in favor of the emergency response action to do the cleanup for the plane crash. So I'm seeking that vote.
Mark, you already gave them the permission to do the cleanup?
Yeah, I had a quorum that said they were in favor of it. So,
Okay.
but I think
So-
it's this, we need a formalized vote.
All right, so I'll, excuse me, at this juncture, I'll entertain a motion to ratify the approvals that were previously given in response to the plane crash on I-195 on October 13, 2025, and to do that in a formalized fashion. So can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Liz?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. And I think we have an enforcement issue left.
Well, we do have one enforcement issue. We have several, but some of them are not ready for discussion just yet. As you know, we've been trying to work through getting that 356 Carroll Street restoration taking place. That was the trees that were cut on an abutter's property within jurisdiction. An enforcement action was issued to Sunrun Solar, well, actually, to the property owners. The person who had the solar work being done basically has turned it over to Sunrun, and so Sunrun is acting on their behalf. Sunrun has been incredibly delinquent. Last minute filing was done by Prime Engineering. We issued a after the fact order of conditions. They failed to meet the deadline for planting. They hired a planting consultant, Wilkinson Ecological, who happens to be very good, to do the work. Wilkinson came out, we did a site visit, and they were in favor of doing the work, but the discussion, there was some skepticism as to the requirement to have the tree plantings done by October 31st of this year. The issue is that because the trees have been down for so long, Japanese knotweed has kind of taken hold in a large portion of the area to be restored, and it has to be eradicated. And that eradication was part of the order of conditions that we issued. Prime cited that in their filing. But we are at a point now where everything had to be done within days, and Wilkinson basically said it's not going to work. We're going to be putting herbicide down and then planting trees right next to it. So they asked to submit a proposal to change the scheduling, to work to get the knotweed out as soon as possible, and to extend the actual tree planting until to be done prior to next fall. The level of effort to get this done in a timely manner successfully is going to be arduous. I think that this is a reasonable program given where we are. One of the things that Wilkinson is going to do is they're going to have Sunrun pay for everything up front. So we're not going to be waiting on invoices and people cutting out. They're going to do the work. They are very committed to environmental restoration. They don't really care so much about the person who perpetrated the problem. They're in it to fix it. So here again, I sent a copy of that proposal out to the commission last week. I did hear from 4 people in a straw poll, meeting a quorum. I indicated to them that a quorum in a straw poll had been met, but we would be taking a formal vote, or I would be asking for a formal vote. I'm asking for that formal vote, as I just did for the emergency response, to amend that requirement and give them the year. I want it done right. The abutter who was violated wants it done right. So I think that's where we are right now. We're kind of backed into a corner, but we have very reasonable people working on this with a reasonable approach, and I think it will ultimately get done correctly and properly. And I would recommend that we vote in favor of amending the required timeline.
Do we have a DEP file number on that for the vote?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but yes, we do. An order of conditions was issued, and notice of intent was filed. Yes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to amend the order of conditions that had been previously issued for 356 Carroll Street to afford an amendment to the planting schedule so that the invasive knotweed can be taken care of first and the trees planted before the fall of 2026.
Oh,
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Richard?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously.
Okay, that's it for me.
I have nothing to add other than entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Megan,
yes.
Richard.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Meeting adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone. We get a
Thank
chance
you.
to watch some TV
Hey,
today.
everyone.
Have a good
Take care.
night.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
You too.